Hello, my friends. Hello, 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 hello. And welcome to another amazing and exciting Midweek Empowerment with Bishop. We're trying to find a cooler title, but you know what? That's really what we're doing. It's the middle of the week and we're trying to empower you. And it's with me. So Midweek Empowerment with Bishop. Okay. So last week I started by dealing with building blocks for success. These are lessons that I've learned in life and things that I genuinely believe work. Now, watch this. This is what drives this. If you live long enough and have enough success, you will eventually develop a system that has created success. If you live long enough and have enough success, you will eventually develop a system that has success created out of it. And so these next few weeks, what I'm doing is I'm dealing with this whole idea of the building blocks of my present success, things that I've learned in life. And so when I talk about this, I talk about this system as a set of beliefs and practices you consistently employ. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to share this with people that you genuinely love. I need you to share this on your timeline. I need you to help me grow Midweek Empowerment. And you can help me do that by sharing it. So I want to do, let me see, I got 10. I'm going to do 3 more tonight. And again, I don't stay long. I don't, it could be 10 minutes. It could be 20 minutes, but what I'm trying to do at doing Midweek Empowerment is to be very concise, very clear, and very focused, because I want you to walk away thinking about the bigger picture, thinking about how do we do this, thinking about how do we make this work. That's what I want you to do. I want you to walk away thinking about how do we do this? How do we do life? What is my system? What is my approach? Okay, number 4. It's going to be on the screen, but it'd be good to screenshot it or write it down or whatever. Number 4, I live with the mindset that all things can be managed. Now, when I talk about managing all things, what I'm saying is every situation can be handled in a way that it does not damage you. Every situation can be handled in a way that it does not damage you. This is really important. If I think a situation can damage me, then immediately I become victimized by the situation. If I think that a criticism or the way someone has related to me or whatever the case may be, that is somehow the worst thing that could ever happen to me and I can't deal with it and it's just more than I can handle, then what's going to end up happening is that I'm going to end up standing on the ledge, threatening to jump off, right? Emotionally standing on the ledge, prepared to jump off. So the power of this, let's grow together tonight. The power of this is that the lens by which I see life through is a very simple lens. Everything in my life can be managed. Okay, Philippians 4:13. Listen to what Paul says. I'll start at verse 10. In my life in union with the Lord, it is a great joy to me that after so long a time, you once more had the chance of showing that you care for me. I don't mean that you had stopped caring for me. You just had no chance to show it. And I'm not saying this because I feel neglected. For I've learned to be satisfied with what I have. I know that it is to be in need. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have more than enough. I have learned this secret so that anywhere, at any time, I am content, whether I am full or hungry, whether I have too much or too little. Verse 13, I have the strength to face all conditions by the power that Christ gives me. I have the strength to face all conditions by the power that Christ gives me. Immediately, this idea that I can manage anything, I can manage life that comes my way. 3 things help with this. Make sure you write this down and you get it. 1 is your perspective about God. It's your perspective about God. How do you understand God? Do you understand God in such a way that your perspective about God empowers you to manage life? That's the first thing. 2 is your perspective about you. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as incapable or incompetent? Do you see yourself struggling? Do you see yourself going through? Do you see yourself going under? It's about how you perceive yourself. But here's the third thing. It's about how you perceive your destiny. Not only do I deal with my own identity, but I deal with my own purpose. And if this somehow is a part of my purpose, then how I understand God, how I understand myself, and how I understand my purpose becomes the pillars by which it holds me up as I go through life. Right? Don't miss this. Everything about you is under the authority of God. And there's nothing about you that works against the will of God, except when you choose to disobey. Nothing about you works against the will of God unless you choose to disobey. And disobedience is when you choose to die to the purpose of God and you find yourself fighting against the will of God. Don't miss this. You have to have a mindset that all things, and all things is in caps, can be managed. Here it is. I've learned that panic produces desperation, always looking for the solution and not the issue. I've learned that panic produces desperation. Don't miss this. Panic produces desperation. At the point that I panic, I'm done. Right? That's why the Bible talks about being under control, calming down, right? Isaiah 26:3 says it very well. Those that keep their mind stayed on the Lord, the Lord will keep you in perfect peace. You will have disappointments. You will have moments when you are mismanaged by people. You will have times when you're kind of struggling through and trying to figure it out. But here's the thing that's so amazing. When you trust God, and when you obey God, what God does is God lets you manage life in a way that life doesn't manage you, right? If you keep your mind stayed on the Lord. So perspectives are important in management. Wow, write that down. Perspectives are important in management. You cannot manage life if your perspectives are skewed. Number 2. I understand the authority of climate control. I understand the authority of climate control. Jesus is on the cross. We're reading through the end of Matthew. So, as of right now, it's Matthew 27. Jesus is on the cross. Jesus controls the climate. This is really important. Jesus controls the climate. And the way Jesus controls the climate is Jesus doesn't give his enemies and detractors and those who murdered him the authority of feeling like they won. So at the end of it all, Jesus says, it is finished. Father, eternal parent, into thy hand, I commend my spirit. Jesus teaches us something very valuable. You must control the climate. Now, how do you ultimately control the climate? Watch this. This is what I wrote. Envision my desire and determine the process for achieving it. Process is determined through my preparation and the obvious call of God. That is so good. Envision my desire, which means that when you control the climate in your mind, you envision outcomes. You envision processes. You envision what it takes to produce what you desire. Envision my desire, determine the process for achieving it. Process is determined then through my preparation and the obvious call of God. Let me add 2 words to this. The first word is you must be able to be grateful for the season you're in, even if the season is difficult. I'm in an amazing place, right? St. Paul, you all, man, it's amazing. It's incredible. I'm loving this season I'm in. But the school is a challenge at times, right? There are things I'm still learning. There are things I'm working through. There are ways that I'm perceived. There are things that I'm understanding about my role and my responsibility. But here's what I'm determined. I am determined that the process is going to work in my favor. I know what I'm becoming, and I am envisioning how to achieve it. Are you getting it with me? Everybody listening to me, hear me. You have to then operate from gratitude, but you have to also engage in the sanctification of your thoughts. So a man thinketh, so he or she is. Though a person thinketh, rather, though he or she is. It's this idea that as I am sanctifying my mind, right? Romans 12, 1 and 2, right? Present your body, living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your worship, And you shall be able to have the experience of the sanctification, cleansing of your mind. And when your mind is cleansed, when you're not conformed to this world, but you are transformed. That's inward work. When you are transformed by the renewing of your mind, guess what happens? You now know what it takes to live out the will of God. Yes. Woo! I'm loving it. You now know what it takes to live out the will of God. Now you become assertive, you become aggressive, and you become clear in pursuing the will of God. I understand the authority of climate control. You control the climate, and everything around you has to respect the fact that you control the climate. You control the climate. Here's the other piece. You control it by disciplining your emotions. Man, I just heard that in the spirit realm. You control it by disciplining your emotions. And then then the other thing is you control the climate by how you interact with people. Because sometimes you get caught up in dealing with people in a certain way, and what you end up doing is sacrificing your integrity, your peace of mind. Because here's what I'm discovering. God will give people discernment around you to know you're not the issue. God will give people discernment around you to know that you're actually managing this at a high level. God will let them understand you. So here's the power of this. Once you grab a hold to the authority you have to control the climate, this is helping me. Then what ends up happening is that the call of God upon your life becomes even more morphed. All of a sudden, you just emerge. The call of God emerges out of you, and you find yourself walking in success, walking in freedom, walking in the fulfillment of the things of God. But you got to understand the authority you have to control the climate. And that happens because you manage process. Okay, here's the next one. I am willing to develop and protect the greatness in others. 1 Samuel 20. That's David and Jonathan. I'm willing to develop and protect the greatness in others. I'm a bearer others' dreams. I need everybody in this space to hear me today. And I'm closing with this. It's like 12 minutes in, but this is good because I want to send you off, kind of think about these three. Developing and protecting the greatness in others has to do with the fact that you never allow yourself to get in the way of someone else's development. Don't miss that. You never allow yourself to get in the way of someone else's development. That's the first thing. But here's the other thing. You never misdirect so others get lost in the process. You never misdirect so others get lost in the process. Let me encourage your heart today. Let me encourage your heart today. You are in a season where everything that you could have possibly wanted God to do, God is able to do through you as you manage the relationships with others. Protecting the greatness in others means a couple of things. One, you don't lessen the morality ethical bar around vulnerable people. You don't lower the ethical morality bar around vulnerable people. You don't set vulnerable people up to fail. You don't do it. You don't set vulnerable people up to fail. Here's the second thing. And I want to encourage you. You become an example by the way you manage the things that other people manage poorly. You become an example by managing things in an excellent way where other people manage it poorly. But here's the last thing. You understand that this person has purpose that requires presence. They have purpose that requires your presence. So you invest in them, you protect them, you guard them, you walk it out with them, you are protective of them, you encourage them, you inspire them. I'm closing with this. There is something amazing about the person whose life becomes a guide for others. And so on this day, I want you to know that you are an armor bearer of other people's dreams. That other people are better because you are great. And your greatness impacts others. Your greatness pushes others. Your greatness motivates others. So go be great. Operate in integrity. Make us proud. And we know that in the end, God's going to be pleased with who you are. Okay. That's part 2. We got part 3 coming up, and we're going to do part 4. Ray, we made him do part 5. There's enough content here. All right. I love you guys so very much. Listen, hope to see you in church on Sunday. Keep growing, keep thriving, keep doing your thing. Thank you again for the kindness you showed to me doing First Family, doing my 20th celebration. Woo, love you guys so very much. If you see this before Wednesday night, jump on the Bishop's Vision Summit at 7 o'clock p.m. Bishop's Vision Summit, 7 o'clock p.m. Love to have you, want you on so I can share my thoughts and my ideas with you. If you see this before Wednesday night, jump on with me. Okay. Be blessed, everybody. If you were in church, you would give. We got Cash App. We got, we got Secure Give. We got Text to Give. Ray's going to put it on the screen. Why not sow? Why not sow? Go ahead and sow. Be a blessing. Go ahead and sow and become a part of the extraordinary way by which we are doing the will of God. I love you guys so very much. I will see you very soon. Be blessed.